Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney, and today I have a special guest, Dr. Brant Hulsebus from Hulsebus Chiropractic here in Rockford.
Hello.
The official chiropractors of the IceHogs.
Yes. Been doing that for 16 seasons now.
16 seasons.
Yes.
And they've been in the AHL, 20 years now? I think they just celebrated.
They've been around for that long.
Yeah.
So the first 5 years is a different chiropractor.
Okay.
Then I jumped on for a couple of years of the UHL, and then I've been the one with the AHL since the start. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So for people who don't know exactly what chiropractic work is, what do you do?
Sure. Well, we look at the spine.
Okay.
And so we try to keep the spine in alignment to try to keep everyone's health as maximized as possible. So when it comes to the IceHogs, we take all their x-rays at the beginning of the season. They come in the clinic and we have all their x-rays. That's twofold. One, so we know how to take care of them. And two, if somebody gets hurt, then we have a baseline to go back to when they clear them to go back. So we take all their x-rays, and then we have a regular table like we have in the clinic, except for this one is red and black to match the locker room, one of Mark Bernard's requests.
Of course.
And then the one at the locker room doesn't go up and down like the one we have in the office because of the skates.
Okay.
So that one's a stationary down. And we go to the game. Prior to this year, we went to the game 2 hours before the game, and we take care of all the guys before the game.
Okay.
A lot of people think we do a lot of them after the game.
Yeah.
But these guys, they're almost making the NHL.
Yes.
So any
close.
little thing they can do to be a little bit faster or a little bit quicker, they'll do. So we just kind of tune them up. There's been research that shows people have quicker reaction time after getting chiropractic care.
Really?
Yeah, so they want to take advantage of that.
I mean, that sounds smart to me.
Yes. So we could kind of tune them all up. Now we'll stay around and see a couple of the older guys after the game. That's usually the typical thing, but we do most of our work before the game.
That's so cool. So how do you work in tandem with the team doctor?
Sure. Yeah. So, since I've been there, somebody from North Illinois has always been there. And now we've got a lot more than when I started. But, if they have to do stitches in the other room, in the locker room, whatever, I'll go with them. I'm not allowed to do stitches, but I'm allowed to cut. So I might cut the strings or just, I make a makeshift nurse sometimes is my job. Okay. But it's been a lot of fun because I'll show the other doctors what I'm finding on the player. We work with the strength coach and the massage therapist what I find the player, and they really get some amazing health care by having all of us in the same room and looking at them at the same time. I always tease that. Whenever I go to the doctor, they ask me who my primary healthcare doctor is. And I always put down the IceHog locker room. Because I say that's probably the best healthcare system in Rockford.
Yeah, right?
To have all of us there together.
All of you there together.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So it's myself, it's the team dentist, it's the ER physician, orthopedic surgeon, and family doctor.
Wow.
Or the regulars that cover the games, plus the IceHog staff, which is 2 athletic trainers, strength conditioning coach. And up to this year, we don't have one this year, but a massage therapist also.
Okay. Wow, you really do have the best healthcare there in that room.
So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. Is the massage therapist not there because of COVID stuff? Or?
No, actually, he got called up.
Oh.
It's not just players that get called up.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing until the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And Derek King and Bernie were having a season ticket holder meeting on Facebook, and they were saying staff got called up. It's like, oh, it's not just players.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. They actually have like a whole farm system for coaches too, because we had one coach, Andrew Joy, who was a backup UHL goalie for the IceHogs, come in, and then he told me about they have a whole, not only just for players but for coaching staff too, and the coaches work their way up the ladder too.
Huh.
So it's a pretty neat system that the Blackhawks have put in here and made Rockford a part of.
So when are you going to get called up?
Oh, I don't need to be called up. I'm quite happy here. It's actually kind of become a little bit of interesting thing with the players because the mentality is that better is in Chicago.
Right.
Well, us physicians that cover the game, we don't necessarily feel that way.
Yeah.
We feel like we're pretty good here in Rockford.
I'd say so.
So it's been interesting because the players have to learn that it's okay to see like the orthopedic doctor in Rockford. He's quite capable.
I promise you, they know what they're doing.
Yes, so
it's okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we're not called up because we're not good enough. We just live in Rockford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you have some guys who have returned to the team, so you get to see them all over again.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun a couple of years ago when Brian Bickle came back down.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm one of the few. I've been doing it long enough. I'm one of the few faces he actually recognized from the
my
2 times
goodness.
in between. So it was fun to see him back. I'm sure he wouldn't have as much fun seeing him as I had fun seeing him. But yeah, it was cool to see Brian again.
Yeah. Now you got Scott Darling, Cody Franzen back.
Yes.
They're just getting the whole gang back together.
Yeah.
But so many young guys too.
Yeah, and that's the fun part for me because a lot of the young guys, especially like the guys that come over from the Czech or Russia, they don't really know what I do. They don't have a lot of chiropractors out there. And people ask me if I'm busy, and I tell them it depends how many veterans, because it's very much monkey see, monkey do in the locker room.
Yeah.
So when one of the veterans sees me, they immediately come over and say, oh, if he's doing that, I should probably be doing that. So like when Jay Cullimore was on the team, a lot of the guys wanted to copy him because he had won Stanley Cups in Tampa Bay.
There you go.
So anything, like if he put his left skate on first, they'd put their left skate on first, whatever it is. So it's kind of funny to watch.
Yeah. Hockey players are so weird with their routines.
Yeah.
And their superstitions.
I've had to learn how to adjust people with hats on.
Oh, yeah.
They don't take their hats off before the games and stuff like that. Because then they'll win a game without their hat, and then we can never wear a hat again.
Of course.
So yeah, it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. That trickles down to the fans, too. Mm-hmm. I try not to be superstitious, but when it gets to playoff time, it gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I understand. I have a certain T-shirt I wear.
Exactly. It's like that old, I think it was Bud Light commercial. It's only weird if it doesn't work.
Yes, yes, I agree with that.
It's so true. Oh, my goodness. So you work with the guys before the game, sometimes the older guys after the game. Mm-hmm. Do you help them rehab when they're going through injuries too? Is that part of what you do? Yeah,
we'll play a role in that too. They come over to our clinic as well during the week. And so if somebody got hurt, something going on like that, we do a lot of that. I've also had the unique opportunity where we had an ice hog player who has the same agent as Sidney Crosby.
Oh, okay. I mean.
Yeah. So when Crosby had his concussion, he went to it was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He went to a chiropractor named Ted Carrick, and we had a ice hog player get a concussion, and he went down to see Dr. Carrick, and then they wanted to follow up the care here in Rockford.
Okay.
And in order to be a patient Dr. Carrick, it's like an 8-year waiting list.
Wow.
But I had the unique opportunity because of the Blackhawks and the IceHogs and the same agent. I went to a seminar where Dr. Carrick was speaking, and Dr. Carrick and I had lunch. So I was able to learn some basic, no level of Dr. Carrick, but I was able to learn some basic concussion protocol for chiropractors to work with.
Wow.
In order to help this player get better and get back on the ice a little faster.
That's wild.
So
it's crazy how all of the different parts of your body are all connected.
Yes.
And working on one can greatly improve the other when you wouldn't even think about that.
Yeah. So we actually, what we do is we have them look at us in the eyes. Well, so it's a little awkward because I'm leaning over you and looking at you in the eyes.
Look me in the eye.
Then we have a couple of things we do with your head, moving it around. And if we get the eyes bouncing a little bit, we know there's still concussion stuff to do.
Oh, wow.
And that's when we deliver our care based on what the eyes tell us, the neurology, what's going on. So we've been able to speed up concussion recovery. And I work with orthopedic. There's a doctor at Rockford Ortho, Illinois, excuse me, guys, who they do all the testing, so they clear them. I don't do the testing, but I give the care, and so we've created this great relationship, not just with hockey players. I know there was a middle school bus that got in a bad car accident, and some of them came in and saw me, and I sent them over there for the testing, and we were able to co-care together. That's so cool. We really do have a lot of quality healthcare here in Rockford. Yeah, and that's my favorite part about the IceHogs is getting to know them and create those relationships, not just for the hockey players, but for everybody. Yeah. It's real easy for me to, text Dr. Trent Hill a question or send a patient over to him because I know his scheduler now and I know his PAs and stuff from the IceHogs. That's so cool. So how is this season different from seasons past with all these new regulations and everything? Well, the first thing that I found out is the athletic trainer for the IceHogs, DJ Jones, is he has a really specific rule book that you have to follow. There's no variance of it. And when he called me up and told me not to come 2 hours before the game, I almost fell over backwards in my chair because the AHL has a protocol. Nobody can be in the arena prior to an hour and 45 minutes before the game.
Oh, okay.
So all the team meetings now are done on Zoom instead of in the locker room. So normally the guys would come in and they have a special teams meeting or a defensive meeting. They can't have those in person anymore. They have to be done before they come to the arena.
Oh, wow.
And so we can't be in the arena either. So first thing is I get an extra half an hour time to get ready.
There you go.
Yeah, which is nice. But they had the bubble, the
Yeah.
AHL bubble. And in order to get in the bubble, I have to prove I don't have COVID. And so that starts off the day before with doing the nasal swab, which then they actually have a carrier that takes all nasal swabs and everyone's nasal swab. And I guess they travel to New York with it every day. There's a carrier that takes
Really?
them. I think it's a place that the league decided on, not Rockford. Okay. And so at 6 a.m. in the morning, I get a text from the trainer that says, you're cleared, you can come to the game. But then there's an app I have to fill out a bunch of questions on. And if I answer them correctly, I get a pass. And when I get to the arena, I show security my pass. Then I'm allowed to the next phase. And the next phase is a scan of my face and my eyes and everything. And then they do a temperature check. And if I pass that, then I can go back. But if there's any kind of a flag, then they have rapid tests.
Wow.
So they have boxes that are in the area that you get a rapid test, and you have to stay in this area until your test comes back. So when I got there was a couple of people that were waiting to get past that zone to get into the bubble until their test cleared.
This team's not messing around.
Yeah, so it's amazing what they put together for the safety for everybody.
It seems like they're doing a lot better than the NHL these days.
Well, I know they got rid of the glass behind the bench.
Yeah.
The AHL did, and now the NHL adopted that.
Oh, they got that from the A.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I tell a lot of people the AHL is like the NHL testing grounds.
Yeah.
Like the overtime rules, they'll try it down
like
here.
It.
So it was weird to see it was for COVID because they started a long time ago and we just started playing now.
Right.
But yeah, so there's no fans that get hit by the puck. So it doesn't matter if the puck goes past.
I suppose not.
So yeah, so that was the IceHogs are doing a great job.
That's good to
get
hear.
You in there. So all of us physicians were completely impressed with their job.
Yeah.
And then normally there's the player lounge in the locker room and we sit in there in case we're needed. Well, now they moved this to what I believe, because I've been around for a while, I think it's the visiting basketball teams from the old Lightning days.
Oh, wow.
We're in that locker room now.
Okay.
So now the five of us have our own little area with leather chairs and high top table, and our dinner's brought to us in there instead of going down to the dental mention lounge or the I don't know if it's anybody the Mercy Care. I don't forget what it's called now.
I don't know what it's called either.
But so they bring our food to us in there now instead.
Okay.
And then they have 2 treatment tables in there for anybody that gets hurt. Unless it's lacerations, we do everything in that room. None of the other. I'm the only physician that goes in the locker room now.
Wow.
They're down there on call. So, and the reason I go in the locker room is that's where my table is.
Okay.
And so I get to go in the locker room, do my thing, and then I'm supposed to leave and go into the other area.
Wild.
So.
And now they have the locker rooms all spread out too.
Yeah, they got lockers in the hallways. They got lockers in other rooms that were never used before. They have what I used to call the cardio room with all the bikes, but those bikes are all spread out now as much as it's just like they've taken over the entire hallway in there to keep everybody spread out as much as possible. So.
Do they stick the rookies out in the lockers in the hallway?
You
go in the hallway.
I took a picture of the hallway. I purposely made sure I didn't show anyone's names on the locker because I didn't want that to be insinuating anything. I have no idea who's where because I'm not allowed to be in that. I mean, usually I stick my head in the main locker room to see what's going on, but I didn't even try. Not with everybody. I mean, Mark Bernard's running around making sure everyone's going by the rules and watching everything. He's it's pretty amazing what he's all juggling too. He's doing a great job too at his thing. I don't think I want to be in his shoes right now.
No, thank you.
So, so then, all that's going on now before the game. And it's just really totally different.
That's good to hear that they're taking it seriously and actually putting all of these measures in place though. Yeah.
I mean, it is really top notch things. They have a new staff person that's part of the IceHog locker room now. And that's her job is just to check everybody coming in and make sure this, and then you have to do, like I said, you can't get in without going through security. That's
great, especially with all these games and seasons you're seeing put on hold within the NHL. It's nice to see that these guys are
in the old days,
doing their best.
Yeah, in the old days, if you were dressed nice, you could get in the building.
Yeah, right.
You just kind of walk by and wave, like, I got a nice suit on, let me in.
Clearly, I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, not like that anymore. We have to show. We don't usually have the old ID badges. Now we have a digital one we have to show too. So, yeah, it's just. And the hardest part getting ready for all this is we had no team meetings.
Yeah.
Usually we have a couple of nights where we do mock ice preparations. Like we have somebody on the ice laying like they got hurt. Mm-hmm. Okay, now what would we all do? I'm not the only chiropractor. There's 2 other guys from my office, and there's multiple orthopedic guys. And so we break into different teams, and we talk about how we would treat each scenario.
Oh, wow.
And we actually bring out the gurneys and the boards, and we board guys up. We cut jerseys and stuff like that. We act as if we're actually, bring out the defibrillators. We don't actually shock the guys, but we do all that stuff to like practice, and none of that we could do this year.
Man.
So
it's a good thing that we don't see too many injuries that need all of that anymore.
Yeah.
You have some freak accidents, but...
Yeah, I've seen some weird ones over the years.
Yeah?
I was there in the UHL when a guy went to get a drink of water like this, and the defenseman went to clear the puck. So he's on the bench going like this, and the puck crushes him right there, and the fracture goes right across his face.
Oh, no.
And that's like, I mean, no matter how much on-ice training you do, luckily they're all trained professionals in the locker room. They know what they're doing. But
how do you fix a fractured eye socket?
So, and then there was been lacerated spleens I've seen.
How does one lacerate a spleen?
Just getting crushed.
Oh, okay.
And just literally just crush it. I mean, it's happened in the NFL too. Uh-huh. That's the famous Drew Bledsoe did that. That's how Tom Brady got into the NFL. So, but yeah.
And he just won another Super Bowl.
Yeah. And then, that's a hard one to diagnose in the locker room because we don't have any equipment to do that stuff. So, but we have multiple Metro ambulances down there, and they got multiple ambulances ready to go. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so as I said, we've seen some, and I've been there for all the worst ones. I don't know what the luck of the draw is for me, but I've seen all the bad ones. Yeah, I was there for Pink in the Rink.
Oh, the line brawl?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a visiting ortho that day because the guys from Rockford were on retreat. I just remember Dr. Scarza from Mercy going, "Oh no, this happens every time." Like him and I didn't flinch, and the visiting guy from Rush Hospital was just totally panicking.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So, I know I diagnosed at least one broken nose that night on the visiting team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always a classic video clip to look up on YouTube.
That might have been Carter Hutton's fault. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Most likely.
So that's kind of this year. It's totally different being in the arena. So. Yeah,
now there's no fans, so it's got to be super quiet in there.
Yeah, my biggest fear was the kiss cam. I didn't want to have to kiss Dr. Brady camp. So.
Did they make you do it?
No. We were laughing how who's going to win the chuckle puck between the 5 of us.
Right?
Yeah.
You got a 1 in 5 chance. So
it's just us and the players who didn't dress, and there's a lot of them because the roster is much larger this year because of COVID.
Yeah, I think the Hogs said they had 29 or 30 guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know who's playing in Indy. Because, I mean, by the time you look at who Chicago has and who we have, I don't know who's left over. So
I feel like they just keep signing a bunch of free agents. Every time somebody gets called up, they're like, oh no, we got to scramble and find somebody.
I don't think I want that job.
Nope. A lot of guys getting a chance this year that normally wouldn't, that's for sure.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And especially with the junior leagues not playing now, we have a bunch of Blackhawks prospects.
Mm-hmm. We're really young, too. When I was x-raying the guys putting their dates in for their birth years. I'm like, wait, there's no way this guy should be here. He's too young.
They even make me feel old.
Yes.
It's wild.
Yeah.
How do the young guys respond when you start working on them?
Well, yeah, some of them have been chiropractors before, but some of them, like I said, over in Russia, there's not a lot of chiropractors, and the Czech there's not. So they kind of get amazed. Luckily, we get them for a couple minutes in the clinic and we can actually hear each other.
Okay.
Because in the locker room, you can't hear each other. The music's so loud, unless we lose. But yeah.
Hey.
But yeah, we actually get a couple minutes to explain it to them. And again, like I said, we're always lucky to have like 1 or 2 veterans that say, they want to see me. So then all of a sudden they all jump. And a lot of them don't even know what we're doing or why we're doing it. But if he did it, I'll do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
That makes it, it's a good thing that there's those veterans around the team then.
Yes.
Especially this year. How do you explain to these guys what you do?
The main thing I tell them to do is I can keep them on the ice.
Oh.
And I can make them a little faster. And that's kind of...
They probably don't argue after that. They're like, all right, sign me up.
But the second year of the AHL, I remember Brian Bickle told me that he has 8 years to make as much money as he can. because the average hockey player doesn't know how to do anything else.
Yeah.
So anything that can prolong a career, or at least give them those 8 years, chance to have those 8 years, they'll do.
Wow.
So after he told me that, then I know I never was a hockey player myself, but now I understand the mentality from learning from Brian. So then I use that when I talk to the new guys as they come in. I'm like, you only have 8 years, and I'm here to help you keep those 8 years going as long as we can. So.
And then you have your Patrick Kanes of the world who just signed an 8-year, $10.5 million contract a few years into their career.
We can't all do that one. We can't all get those started when we're 18 like he did.
Yeah, right, for sure. So you've seen a lot of Stanley Cup winners come through then.
Yeah, that's been fun. I have the funnest year was the year of the lockout.
Yes.
When Scotty Bowman was down here.
Okay.
Because he was not an official Blackhawk employee or something, but he was allowed to come down. And I got to know him pretty well in the locker room and hanging out with him and stuff. And I asked him, I said, hey, I got 10 Blackhawk pucks here. Which 10 guys should I have sign them? And he told me, and he was 10 for 10.
Really?
Of course, he should be, but yeah. So I keep pucks around for the guys. At home, I have a special shelf of pucks signed by guys who have won the cup.
That's neat.
So that's kind of fun. Do
you have a favorite player who's come through Rockford?
Oh, I got to know Carter Hutton really well.
Okay.
And then also, it's his name's on the tip of my tongue, American. I had a good time with Saad when he was here. Okay. He was only here a brief time.
Yeah.
But I had a good time with Saad. And it's fun for me because I have 4 daughters.
Okay.
And I think about which guys I went around my daughters, Andrew Shaw might be one of those guys. Yeah. Just getting to know him a little bit. Yeah. Christopher Stieg was one of those guys. Steger. So
I'm sure there's a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, I always laugh and have fun with them, but I don't want them anywhere near my daughters.
Right. How old are your daughters?
My oldest is 15. And the youngest 2 are 9. So, but it's just, you have those thoughts as a dad. For sure.
Do they get to go to the games? Not this season, of course, but.
Yeah, they show up a couple times a year. So,
nice.
Yeah. But I always think the doctors with sons have more fun because they get to bring them in the locker room and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and I know you could, but I'm not bringing my girls in there.
No.
I've been in there enough to know I'm not bringing my girls in there.
They would probably hear some things you don't want them to hear.
or let alone see some things.
Definitely see some
Speaking
things.
of Versteeg.
Yeah. Smell some things. Yeah. I've heard that hockey locker rooms don't smell very good.
Yeah, no, it's when we went from the UHL to the AHL, the locker room got twice as big. I was very grateful.
You don't have to be stuck in that small space
with
sweaty, gross players.
Yes, it wasn't uncommon back in those days to come in and have my table covered with all their suits and clothes. I should just take a rake and knock them all on the floor. So
get this out of here.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Do you have a favorite game aside from the pink in the rink line brawl?
Well, I mean, my all-time favorite game was probably Game 7 when we won the UHL Cup.
Okay.
As far as the AHL era, I don't know. There's been a lot of fun ones. I don't know if I can put my finger on one. Half the time I can remember what we did, but I don't remember who we were playing because I've been to so many.
Right.
So.
How many games out of the season are you there working?
Well, it depends who's working with me.
Okay.
I've had years and I'm the only one.
Oh, wow.
So if I've done this 16 years, at least 8 of the years, I was probably all by myself, covering every game. So that got to be exhausting. So whenever I would interview a new chiropractor, I'd always think, well, you have to cover IceHog games with me too.
No.
Part of the requirement. Yeah.
What a hassle.
Yeah. I actually went to the sports rehab part of the college, and I met Dr. Pelvicek, who's a classmate of mine. And if you don't know, the school's Palmer and Davenport, and we take care of the Olympic team.
Oh, really?
So we have a big sports-centered chiropractic group at the college.
Wow.
And the number 2 guy that runs, the number 1 guy is always at the Olympics. So Dr. Pelvicek's always at the clinic. So even though he might not be the main guy, but he spends a lot of time working with the students. I told him what I was looking for, and he's the one that called me. That's how we found Dr. Bervin. He's like, I got a chiropractor here that's worked with hockey players in the past with strength and conditioning. He's a former athletic trainer, and he has a real passion for hockey, and he's always wanted to live in Rockford. I'm like, he's like,
that's
you
not
need
something you hear very often.
Yes, well,
I like to hear it, but it's not something that you hear very often.
Well, Mrs. Bourbon's from Rockford.
Oh, okay.
Area, so that's the big thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So, I went down and met him right away. And, his first experience with the IceHogs is the game when we had a special visitor. It was Brant Hulsebus.
Oh. Perfect.
And so Host was at the game. He's probably my all-time favorite hockey player.
My dad's too.
Yeah. And so I kind of was bad that day. I had my doctor's badge on, and we kind of cut in line. Sorry, everybody. But I brought him right up, and we took the back elevator and got right up and met Marian Hossa right away. And Dr. Bervin, being a hockey fan, thought, this is, wow.
Yeah.
I come to work with the Rockford IceHogs. I get to hang out with guys like Marian Hossa.
Right?
Sign me up.
Any day of the week.
Yeah. So that was his first ever time and around the IceHogs. And so I thought that was a pretty special night to be able to sneak up there right away. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. I probably got some people mad at me that day, but I've been known to do that.
It's fine. With all the stuff you have to go through and
Yeah.
smelling and touching all these sweaty players, I think you deserve it.
Yes.
It's just making me want to like fast track a career into chiropractic so I can go to games this year.
Yes, people ask me, how do I get into the game like you do? I said, all you got to take is a quick 8 years of college.
That's all.
I'll get you in there. Yeah. Hopefully by the time the pandemic's over.
Oh, don't even say that. If this goes on for 8 years,
Yes.
I might become one of those people that's like, screw it, just let me out into the world.
Yes.
I miss my seats. So do you always hang out near the tunnel then?
Yeah, they want us there. Our seats are specifically picked out for us because, one, we're around season ticket holders. Mm-hmm. So they understand who we are. Okay. And if you're just around average fans and somebody got hurt, the season ticket holders know to stop and sit down and let us get down there if something happens. Mm-hmm. It's happened. It's kind of, they've stood up and blocked the aisles and everything. It's pretty cool. And so we're also right at the spot with the least amount of blind spots on the ice. Okay. So we have there is a blind spot right in the corner where we are, but it's all designed for us to run down there. And for what Mike Peck has told me, all the season ticket holders know that they're sitting by the doctors and they have to let us get down there.
Well, that's good.
So they also know to kind of leave us alone. Not that we're not social.
Right.
But we actually are working.
Yeah.
We have to be able to see the injury to know how to treat the injury better. So
yeah. I mean, do you spot them on the ice even if guys don't come off? If it's like maybe a minor injury, you're like, oh, we might be seeing that guy later.
Well, for my job, yeah. I watch them how they climb onto the bench.
Okay.
They climb on the bench, a little bit of a catch and a giddy up, as I call it. Okay. I know I better check with that guy during intermission, see if he needs anything. But I don't know what the ortho guys are looking for, and I don't know what the dentists are looking for. I mean, their job's a little easier, so.
A little bit until you get one of the pucks to the face and you get the blood trail all the way off the ice.
I'm often known to tease a dentist saying, oh, I think that guy lost a tooth. You better get ready. And he didn't lose a tooth. Leave me alone. You know.
Those are always pretty brutal looking. The guys are just holding their face and blood's dripping down. Oh.
So that's kind of how it works is if it's a facial injury, the ER and the dentist will go together. Okay. And if it's anything else, the ortho and myself will go. Okay. So the head up is ER and dentist, and neck down is ortho and chiropractic.
We had a couple guys get smashed pretty good last year. Mm-hmm. I think Chad, Chris, and Gilbert maybe that was the year before. Yeah, I guess it all blends together after a while. Absolutely. Yeah, but it's I learned how to do orthopedic testing at school. We don't really use it, but I definitely know how to remember them while I'm in the locker room. Absolutely. Watching Dr. Van Thiel or Dr. Trent Hill do his thing. So that's wild. So do you or some of your guys travel with the team, or do the I guess home teams when the IceHogs are away, do their team take care of our guys? Well, the official answer is that the home team is to provide complete medical services for the visiting team. Okay. So I'm part of the Professional Hockey Player Chiropractic Society, where we get together once a year, and we have an AHL room, an NHL room, and ECHL area. Okay. I got to know the gentleman up in Milwaukee very well and stuff like that. So the chiropractor. Okay. He's a good guy. He's also known as Bernie. So the rest of the team, not so much. Yeah. And now they're part of the Wolf. Yeah. So for the most part, nobody really brings their own doctor. Some teams still do. Okay. Like we'll go down to the visitors' locker room when somebody got hurt, and the door will be locked, and we'll be told they don't want us, so we leave. But the fun for me is when they come to Rockford, it's the guys that used to play here. Okay. Will ask me if I'll come down and see them. So I get to catch up with them. I know I used to go see Brandon Peary quite a bit when he'd come back in a different uniform, and Clint Eddy, he'd come ask for me to come down and see him and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. It's always fun to go through the visitors' previous years, we go to the visitors' locker room on our way to the lounge area. Okay. And we stop and say hi to people on the way and stuff like that. So it's fun for us to see the old faces again. Yeah. So. That's got to be neat. And then seeing these guys go on and have success in the NHL.
Yeah. And then they don't allow me to go to away games.
Oh.
So I've never seen a
You're
win.
banned.
Well, I've never seen a win. All the years I've gone with them on away games, I've never seen a victory. And now the team has figured that out. So they
Oh, no wonder you can't go with them.
They tell me they won't leave me tickets. So, I got to go to the year of the lockout. We played the Iowa Stars in Minneapolis.
Oh.
On the Minnesota ice.
Okay.
And I was there for a conference already. So they let me come to the game, and I got to see the Minnesota Stars locker room, get to get a tour of it, the arena and stuff like that.
That's pretty neat.
And then I do amateur photography, so the IceHogs gave me their photography pass.
Nice.
So I get to walk around and take pictures of everybody. I know I actually got a little bit of a district because our photographer told me stand your ground. Don't let the other home team photographers tell you that this is their turf. It's anyone's turf. Mm-hmm. And so I got a little bit of a disagreement with the Minnesota and the Iowa photographers. And then on the way down the elevator, they were laughing at me because I was walking to the locker room telling me I couldn't go in, but I just switched my ID badge from photographer to physician. I walked in.
You can't stop me now.
And then Teddy Dent was the head coach, and he saw me behind the bench waving at the other photographers from across the ice, and he goes, I don't want to know what you're doing, do I? I said, no, you don't want to know what I'm doing.
Getting into trouble.
Yeah. So that was a neat experience to watch the AHL IceHogs play in the NHL arena like that. So, yeah. And that's Beach was playing Beach then.
Okay.
And he had me take pictures of the two of them on the ice together, and he took my picture and emailed it to his dad for Christmas to have the two Beach brothers next to each other.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of fun stuff like that.
Yeah, it seems like you get to have a lot of cool experiences.
Yeah, a lot of, and then during the preseason, the IceHogs are Blackhawks until they make their cuts. So we've gone up to those games too.
Oh, yeah?
So I've been to Blackhawks locker room several times.
Oh, wow.
I suit up for those games, and I help give the chiropractic care to the guys I know there.
Okay.
And they have a guy who's a chiropractor in Chicago too. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the guys, they'll see me and they'll like, hey, come on.
They want their guy.
Yeah. One of the guys was always friendly and nice to me. Every time he saw me was Corey Crawford. He was one of the a lot of the guys, I hate to say this, when they go to Chicago, they tend to forget everybody from Rockford kind of quick. But I would never say that about Corey Crawford. He always stopped and grabbed me. Ben Smith was the other one too that was always outgoing.
My two favorite players.
Yeah.
Corey Crawford, my favorite hockey player ever.
Yeah.
Got a jersey there. There's one over there. There's a couple in the closet.
Yeah, he was always, and I saw him in Chicago, he'd stop me and ask me about my kids and stuff like that. He's an extremely personable guy.
Oh.
Besides just being a hockey player. Yeah.
That's so good to hear.
So, yeah, I always enjoyed seeing Corey.
Yeah. Did you know he was my favorite player coming in?
I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, there you go. That just shows you that he is that great of a person.
You want to hear a funny Corey Crawford story?
Every day, yes.
So before Antti Niemi was here, the Blackhawks were in the playoffs. And I think it was Javi Bulin got hurt in the playoffs. Where Corey didn't know that you could have 3 goalies in the playoffs. He knew he was up there as a black ace, but he didn't know he could dress 3 goalies. So he's up having dinner like in one of the suites. Mm-hmm. And the guy from the locker room comes up and goes, Crawford, what are you doing? You're supposed to be on the ice. And so he's up there. He just freaks out. And he just starts running down the hallway, ripping off his clothes. And the IceHog trainer told me he went down the elevator with Corey in his underwear.
Oh, my God.
And they're like picking up his clothes. And Corey runs in the locker room and gets dressed faster than he's ever gotten dressed because he doesn't want to make Savard then upset with him because he's where's this young kid at? And if you go back and watch the game footage, they show Corey on the bench, like, look at how scared this kid is. He's pale white. He must be so nervous he might have to play. It wasn't that. It was...
He just came running from up
he was exhausted from running down into... That's probably the funniest Crawford story I heard.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
So that was told to me because, again, when the Black Aces go up, so do all the IceHog locker room staff.
Oh, really?
And so they go up there, too. So when we're done, unfortunately we're done sometimes pretty early. But so the Black Aces go up, and so do the locker room staff, the athletic trainers and the strength conditioning and all those guys. They go up to help out too because it's when they travel, the Black Aces don't always travel, but they still have practice.
Okay.
So they have to have athletic trainers and equipment guys and stuff like that. So they're up there too. And I get to know those guys all pretty good. Sometimes I still up there too sometimes. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Of course, they're not going to let you go up there during the playoffs since, you don't see wins.
No, well, I don't see, I can't travel with them.
Yeah.
I can see wins in Chicago.
Does it still count if it's a Blackhawks game since it's technically not in Rockford?
Yeah, no, I've seen Blackhawks plenty of times. Yes.
Whew.
Yes. But we go out up to suburbs and I'll ask the trainer for tickets to go see him play at the Wolves, and they just straight up tell me no. So.
Were you there on Tuesday? Did you break the rule?
No, I was not. No.
I wanted somebody to blame that loss.
Yeah, I'm off the hook on this one. I was working.
You were there on Saturday, though.
Yes.
But that was a home game, so you can't blame you for that one.
No.
Well, I guess it's just on the team for losing those two then.
Yeah, no, it's no fun when they don't win because you go in the locker room and it's just you can hear a pin drop.
Oh.
But they always have their song they play when they win. It's always a different song each year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they change the songs every year they win. So you go in the locker room, you hear the song, and they wait to tee it up till the coach after they go in the locker room, they head to their post talk, then you hear that song kick on. So
you know it's a good season when you have that song just stuck in your head for weeks, right?
Yes.
Is there one that's been most memorable as their winning song?
I've gotten old. So and then there was one about a Rolex they used to play a lot. I know that one. So, yeah, I don't know the names of the songs. So,
do you know who the team DJ has been?
Yeah, they usually always tell one guy to put the music on. I don't know if it's because he's good at it or because he knows how to use that computer in the locker room. I don't know the answer to that. But a lot of times it's actually like the assistant equipment guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they'll have him tell him to put the music on. Or Mikey used to do a lot, the massage therapist.
Okay.
They'd wait for him to cue it up. Yeah. But there's definitely a previous year, there's zones.
Yeah.
Like their locker room. If you travel with the team, you can go in there after the win. If you don't, like us, then we kind of stick past the little wall and kind of stay in our area. So it's interesting dynamics.
Yeah, that's neat. Do you have a favorite season that you've been working there?
The first year of the AHL was a lot of fun. Yeah. Because it was so different than the UHL that we were used to. Mm-hmm. But different coaches bring different personalities to the locker room. And Javi, the first AHL coach, he sat down with us the first day and told the doctors that we're like uncles. Because uncles can come over whenever they want. Uncles can grab a drink out of the fridge. Uncles can sit in the couch in the family room and enjoy themselves. But uncles don't belong in your bedroom. Uncles shouldn't be taking stuff home with them. Uncles shouldn't be bringing company with them. They should just come by themselves. And uncles should be respected by their nephews. But uncles shouldn't be making rules for the nephews. So he described to us as uncles. And the team had rules of fines. So if you were late for a doctor's appointment, it was like a $200 fine. Oh, wow. And then they would use that money to buy stuff for on the bus and in the locker room. So whenever they wanted new speakers, the captain, then Jim Fahey, would be all about calling me up like, hey, was so-and-so late for his appointment? Trying to find money from other guys to spend and do stuff like that.
Trying to get you to throw their guys under the bus.
Yes. And I used to have a lot of fun with Jack Skilly. We used to actually have a gambling pool on the Zamboni races. They used to do the Zamboni race on the screen. We started a pool to see who would win it each time, and everybody would put $10 on, and sometimes they wouldn't play it, so we carried over the next game. Oh, okay. But Teddy sat down with me and talked to me about he was still the assistant coach then, but he talked to me about the pool and wanted to know if it was true because the guys had all denied it. And I might have kind of looked at him and I'm not sure,
what the guys say.
Yeah. And then, but then, it was agreed that it would stop there. Oh. Yeah.
Come on, Ted.
Yeah.
So, gotta ruin all the fun.
I think Bill Peters was coach then. Okay. And he kind of looked at me kind of, he had a look.
You've seen a bunch of coaches come through then too.
Oh yeah. So Bill Peters was fun. He was when I would see him, he never wanted the guys to see him because he was a little squirmy. He never wanted that to be portrayed to the front of the boys. So he would always secretly, talk to me and pull me aside and work with me secretly. And then Coach Teddy, when the twins were born, I had 4 girls. Wow. And he just became head coach, and he called me over the summer at my home, and he offered me a key to the locker room because I only had girls at home. In case you need some guy time, he said. He just became the head coach. So he called me at home and said, I just want to give you a key to the locker room. I'm the head coach now. You come by whenever you want to come by. You're welcome. So
That's
I've got
awesome.
to know them on a little bit of a personal level. It's kind of fun. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you give them chiropractic care too?
Well, with hip, I can't legally answer that.
Ah.
So, but yeah, when they do the x-rays at the beginning of the year, every coach, every player, every locker room staff, everybody comes in for their film. So we have something available should they choose care.
Gotcha. So you're available for the team as a whole?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So So everybody comes in. So we're ready for them if they choose to have care.
Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. Not all do it, but some do. Some
Yeah.
don't. Yep.
Then it's not just the players.
Yeah, some of the coaches are more excited to see me than the players are. So
make me feel young again.
Yes. But again, the aging hockey player learns to appreciate chiropractors.
Yeah.
A lot of our coaches, that's what they were at one time. So yeah.
I'm sure some of these veterans just like coming back to Rockford then because they get the care in the room.
In the UHL days, I was one of the selling points to the free agents.
Really?
Because they said, well, we got chiropractic care here if you come to our team. Because in the UHL, they were just trying to find any player they could find.
Yeah.
Coach Martinson would try to hunt them down and look for them. So, yeah.
Well, that's neat.
One of the benefits was that you would have chiropractor at this. I mean, those guys were, compared to these guys, I mean, they weren't making anything like these guys do and stuff like that. It was a whole different kind of hockey. But any little extra perk to sign their free agent, and I was part of that. So it's kind of fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't watching hockey during the UHL days. So what was the difference between the two leagues?
Oh, it was night and day. The first thing I noticed when the AHL came in, it was 5 times faster.
Okay.
And crisper. Like the passes were better, this and that. You had in the UHL, you had 3 or 4 guys that were just like they could skate, they could move this and that. But you had 4 or 5 guys that were just out there just to smash someone's head in. And Martinson was really good at finding 4 or 5 guys in both of those categories.
Okay.
We definitely had the guys that could go out there and race, and we had other guys out there could really skate and were fast and were fun to watch. But it was definitely.
They must have kept you busy back in the day then. Yeah,
we had one game during the day for the 6th graders, and it was against the Quad City Mallards back then. That was our big rival. And the commissioner came to the locker room and said, "Hey guys, we have a bunch of kids here. Let's keep the fighting to a minimum." And I don't know why he did that. That was the worst.
That was a bad thing to do.
Because they dropped the puck and the 2 guys in the faceoff circle fought, and that happened 7 times in a row.
Oh my God.
So we're 30 seconds into the game. We've already had 7 fighting majors, and the coaches were screaming at each other, and they were about to call the game.
Wow.
And I can only imagine what would happen with all those kids had they called the game. So
chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos.
But yeah, those were the days when they'd come up to me and ask me where a restaurant was, and we would tell them to go 4 blocks west, and there's a whole food district, and of course there's nothing.
Right.
It was just kind of
yeah. There's nothing west of the
BMO. That was UHL hijink days. Now the meals are all catered.
Okay.
Right? So there's no walking around looking for a Subway.
Yeah. I mean, even then we didn't have all the stuff downtown. Even if you did give them directions to an actual restaurant.
Yeah. No, they would specifically tell me that, and I can remember one of the guys was known for hitting people, and his girlfriend called the trainer's room, and I'm like, should I give him the call? Like, yeah, definitely give him the call, because whenever she called, she'd scream at him. And Martinson wanted me all fired up before he went out there, so he's like, only give the phone to him when she calls. Nobody else needs phone calls in here. Yeah, he broke the phone and went out there, and caused all kinds of problems.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But back then, it was just me, the dentist, and the orthopedic doctor, and that was it in the locker room. Now we have the 5 of us, sometimes even more. We have med students and other people that come down to the game, so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot across the board. Everything's more professional and just more.
Yeah, especially being affiliated with the Blackhawks now. I'm sure they make sure everything runs pretty smoothly.
Yeah. I mean, just the whole locker room was like the changing room, the lounge area. That was the whole everything.
Oh, really?
In my room where the massage therapist and my table are, that was the entire equipment room.
Wow.
So it was really tall, and so they had stuff just stacked all the way to the roof. Now it's a whole, the only thing that's the same is the trainer's room and the sinks. Everything else has been changed and relocated since then.
And the sinks.
Yeah. We were dumbfounded when we first walked in how much had changed.
Yeah.
Still the same ice machine, but that's about it.
Huh.
Everything else has been ripped out and gutted and changed and rearranged. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
get the whole upgrade and everything. And the BMO's gone through even more upgrades itself, too.
And Mark Bernard's always adding more stuff to the locker room. Every year I go back, I'm always curious to say, okay, what cool thing did they have this year? So, I mean, one year was all leather recliners and high top chairs with a bar countertop area for the sit.
Dang.
And a lot of times we don't want to go back.
Yeah.
We just prefer to watch the game on the screens, right? And sitting there.
Just let me hang out here in the lounge.
Yeah. And it's fun, too, because then guys from Chicago come down. And so I just want to hang in there with them.
There you go.
So, I mean, I could remember multiple games where Quinville's roaming around and stuff like that. So, I've been known to keep a Sharpie marker with me and a couple extra hockey pucks because they never know you're going to bump
smart.
into. Yeah.
That's smart. I usually keep a couple Sharpies in my bag that I take to every game. You never know when you're going to see somebody.
Yeah. But, for me, it's also, you got to, when it's appropriate, you got to, wait outside the locker room. You don't want to ask for them in the locker room, but outside is okay.
Yeah.
So.
Just wait. Wait, and they finally come out.
Yes.
Yeah, my seats are up in 203, so the suites are behind me.
Okay.
I can usually see when some of the Blackhawks guys are up there.
Yeah. And this year, no, it's all switched now. They switched benches. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we've asked for a long time.
Oh, really?
Because of an injury or something like that, sometimes guys go on the bench and they can have something. That's when it's discovered. So then they have to come across it's that much
all
farther.
the way across the ice.
Because even though you don't want to take them through the visitors' locker room to get it down to our side. So they finally switched the benches. So
Are they going to keep it that way going forward? Do you know?
I believe so.
Okay.
I thought the reason it was like that, the rumor I had always heard, is because we only had one clock for the goalie to see.
Oh, really?
Right above the lounge area. There's no clock on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was told that we have to give them that bench because we only have one clock. They get it for 2 periods and we get it for 1. That's what I was always told. But,
add another clock.
Yeah. There's been times they've tried.
Okay.
I know there was one in the corner one time, but it never, just electricity in the way of the building being its age.
Yeah.
I found out later that none of that was true. That's what I had been told.
They're just lying.
Yeah. I was just told that we have more fans on one end zone than we do the other end zone because of the way the building is made.
Yeah.
And they want us to have 2 chances for the crowd to get extra loud with where the goal was.
Well, that makes sense.
So.
Well, there used to be seats on the other side, didn't there?
Yeah, it was called Hog Heaven or something. It was.
Yeah.
The seats were never used. It was always you could have a private party.
Oh.
Where the lounge area is now, but there was nothing. It was just a flat floor.
Oh,
they
really?
Just bring food in. Yeah, back in the UHL days.
I don't know why I remembered seats going all the way around.
There were seats, but they were all folded up.
Oh, okay.
Because of the way the ice fit.
Gotcha.
So little things like that in the building I always think are fun, like the fact that the scoreboard on top's not centered. Because it's centered to the building and not the ice.
So this is called From Center Ice, right? My seats are in 203, right on the red line. So right at center ice. That's where the name came from. So I'm up in the top level. So I look straight across. I have to look to my left to see the Jumbotron, and I will not stop yelling about this until somebody fixes it.
Sure. Well, I have told us it's to the building and to the support to hold it.
Yeah, well, they need to fix it. They need to move the support.
When Gordon was here, he doing the photography stuff. More than once he would give me let me be the ice hog photographer too, walking around the arena, and I've been up on the catwalks.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been up on top of the building and done photography. And I tied myself down. I was hanging over, taking pictures and stuff.
Oh, man.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of years. I don't think I want to do that anymore. But
the body gets older. I don't want to tie myself to things and risk it.
Yeah. And so I've been up there clapping around, looking at that kind of stuff. So I've been, plus with us, we come in around the building. We have to know how to get around the building in case some other team is hurt and stuff like that. So
that makes sense.
I've seen a lot of that building.
So you need to tell people to move the supports for the Jumbotron.
Yeah, I'm sure the chiropractors will vote counts.
I mean, you've been there long enough. It's like a tenure, right? They should listen to you more than some other people.
Yeah, I was laughing about that, how many people have been working for the IceHogs longer than I have. Ortho beat me there.
Really?
The Riverside Dentals beat me there. It's been different dentists now.
Okay.
But Mike Peck and Chris Toltzman are the only ones that have been there. When they were there when I got there.
Were they really? They've been there that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Mike Peck I know he always used to travel with the team, and he was the announcer, so.
Yeah, I remember when I was in college, that was during the 2012 lockout. And I couldn't watch the Blackhawks, obviously. I was in school in Chicago, so I could watch the Wolves games on TV. Nobody wants to watch the Wolves. So I'd turn on the radio and hear Mike Peck calling the games.
Yep. So the Wolves, they'll bring their doctors down. So I don't do a lot with the Wolves
They bring
players.
their own TV people, too.
Yeah. So
Chicago.
And they're another reason not to like them.
Oh, I love reasons not to like them.
When we have the outdoor games in Chicago, the reason the IceHogs don't play outside?
Why?
Is because it's Wolves marketing territory.
Seriously?
Because the AHL is divided up on where you can advertise and where you can't.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to, because that's Wolves territory. So if we played a game outside, it would have, and I understand, it would have to be against the Wolves, and it would be the Wolves home ice. They did try to move it one time to DeKalb. There was serious effort to take the Winter Classic stuff from Chicago or Soldiers Field and move all that equipment to DeKalb, because that's not Wolves territory, that's our territory.
Oh, wow.
And have an outdoor game.
Would they put it at NIU or something?
Yep.
Wow.
So there was serious talk of that at one time.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be great to have an outside game.
That would be super cool.
So I know they did the one in Belvedere, the practice outside, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to have an outdoor game.
I mean, now they could bring it to Rivet Stadium. There's not that many seats, but it'd be cool.
Yeah.
We just need to build a whole outdoor hockey rink. Seats and everything.
Now, the Rivet Stadium just misses the clubhouses. So I've been in those two trailer they have in the back when it was the Aviators.
Yep.
And I don't think I wanted to be there in the winter time. So.
Oh, man, I can't believe stupid Wolves. They're always ruining everything.
So there's another reason not to like the Wolves.
There's just so many.
Yes.
And they call themselves Chicago, but they're in Rosemont. This year, Hoffman Estates. That's not Chicago.
Yes. So.
Ridiculous. That's fun, though.
Yeah. So there's another reason for you.
Yeah.
So.
What is your favorite part about working with the team?
It's fun to work with the other doctors. That's been a huge benefit for us. And then just getting to know all the players from everywhere. My brother-in-law's from Newfoundland, Canada, so he's always, whenever we do the x-rays every year, I always stop and check to see if there's any Newfies on the team. He always wants to know. So none this year. None this year. But some of the guys have been just a lot of fun to. I've had Victor Spenberg was a lot of fun.
Oh, I miss Svetty.
So he, I like having fun.
Yeah.
So one time after a game, he's in the room with me and the massage therapist. I don't know where it came from, but he's just angry about Swedish fish, the candies, just because they're not from Sweden, and he just was just going off about Swedish. It was just totally random. And at the time, he was the veteran of the team, so when you go to get the massage, the veteran of the team always had priority. So when the game's over, he comes in, and obviously when he's in that little room with me and the massage therapist, there's not a lot of extra room.
It takes up a lot of room.
So he's in there just ranting and raving about, really angry about Swedish fish. And then complaining of cherry candy in America is bogus, because cherries aren't sweet. Cherries are tart. They shouldn't call cherry candy. So you get Swedish fish that are cherry flavored. He's just going off with the whole idea is just wrong. So I went over to Walmart and I bought cases of Swedish fish, and I filled his locker up with them. And it turned out to be a good omen, because he got called up then.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he never got the joke never came to life, because luckily for him, he was called up and never came back to Rockford. I never got to finish my joke with him, but yeah, little stuff like that just kind of really just cracks you up.
Yeah.
So
that's
knowing those little inside stories and get to meet the guys and hear more what it's like being around professional athletes. I remember one time I had the opportunity with the Rockford Park District to go in when they brought down some of the Packers and Bear players. Okay. And I'm friends with Michael Haynes, who used to play for the Bears. Okay. And he came with us to that. So they let us go in the private room with Leroy Butler and Kyle Fuller. And they sat me down before I went in there to talk about what it's like to be around professional athletes. And I'm like, I've been in the Blackhawks locker room. I've been in, I think I know how to handle myself. So
I've been around a time or two.
Yes. The coolest opportunity I ever had was the preseason game. They go to Chicago, and I'm in the locker room, and they had the TV on the locker room. They have a lounge area. This is the old Blackhawks locker room. And they had 3 leather couches. and the game's on, so I decided just to have a seat and watch the game there. And I'm sitting down, and then the next person that comes in is Brant Hulsebus, and he sits in the couch right next to me here, so kind of like perpendicular to each other right there. And then Kane crashes on the other couch because he had a wrist injury then.
Oh, I remember that. Oh, my goodness.
And then Sharp came in and sat down next to me. And I remember the locker room assistant came and said, Dr. Hulsebus, would you like to go to your seats?
Nope.
In my mind, I'm like, are you freaking crazy?
I'm surrounded by the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm moving.
You show me a better seat.
Yeah, right? Just going to chill here, watch the game with Marion Hossa, Patrick Kane, and Patrick Sharp. No big deal.
And it was funny because Caden doesn't care.
Okay.
So some guy in the locker room he's never seen before. He could care less, Hulsebus kind of looking at me like, I wonder who this guy is. And Sharp finally looks at me and goes, hey, who are you? And I told him who I was. And then they started asking me all kinds of questions about Rockford and our players and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Sharp's quite the storyteller. So he told all kinds of neat stories. So I don't know what the rating is here, so I'll keep those to myself. But,
oh, no, we get explicit on here.
But that was like my most surreal moment.
Oh, I can imagine.
Doing this job. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So just kind of hanging there. And the little funny story is like one of the guys convinced somebody in his contract that they had to have popcorn in his locker before the second intermission. And they're like, is that real? It's like, no, I just wanted popcorn. So they got the poor locker room guy running to go get him popcorn and stuff like that. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, those things crack me up.
It seems like there's always just something with this team. There's always a big jokester.
Oh yeah. So.
Do you get to see those antics play out? You usually know who the team jokester is here in Rockford?
I was told never tell Clendetti where his shoes are. So I would open the fridge to grab like a drink. And I look in the back and I see one of Clendetti's shoes. And I was always told that not to ever let them know when you see stuff like that. I'm like, hey, there's a shh. Everyone's yelling at me. It was Puri and Moore and those guys like, shh, don't say nothing. But yeah, Clendetti tended to be at the butt end in some of the jokes back then. So.
Just like Taves up in Chicago.
Yeah.
He's usually the butt end of the jokes up there. Is there one piece of advice you usually give to hockey players to take care of their bodies?
Yeah, I tell them to be proactive. And I tell them that, you got to keep building your machine. Mm-hmm. This is all you got. And I talk about, we talk a lot about the idea that you need protein at night to heal and repair yourself. And these guys get really good counseling. Mm-hmm. It's gotten better every year with the counseling and stuff they get from nutritionists and stuff like that, but how they maintain and keep their body going, that all they have is their body. And once it's gone, they're done. Mm-hmm. And these are all the things that we can do to work with you. These are all the things that the IceHogs have given you, and you must take advantage of them. You got to go see the strength conditioning coach. You got to work with the massage therapist. You got to take care of all the stuff, even though you think right now at 20 years old,
right,
you don't need this stuff. When you're 20, if you want to play when you're 29, you better have done all this stuff from the get-go. Yeah. Because the IceHogs really do. I mean, it's amazing the environment they put these guys in to excel and succeed.
That's great to hear, and you see it play out. We got a bunch of rookies up with Chicago this year, and they're playing great. Yep.
Even like some of the guys don't want to do the yoga sessions they plan for them. I'm like, you got to go check it out. You'd be surprised what it might do for you. It is here. It's given to you. Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might as well take advantage of it.
Yep.
You get you more flexible at the very least.
And the biggest surprise I learned about is the amount of time after the game the guys spend cooling down.
Oh, yeah.
Preparing because they have to skate again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I've been around NFL guys and they just go home and then on Monday morning they go to bed and they can't move. But these guys do excessive amounts of time after the game with they have these things that wrap around their legs and pump all the toxins out of their legs.
Oh, man.
The stretching and the conditioning. That's why a lot of times I see the fans get mad like they're waiting for a player. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, if the player doesn't do these things, he's going to have a bad game tomorrow. You're just going to have to wait.
Yeah, you'd much rather have them play a good game than get an autograph. Yes. I promise. Yeah. There will be plenty of time for that.
Someone to beat the team afterwards or skate with the team afterwards. If the players take a little while to get out there, there's a reason. They're not. It's not because they don't like the fans. They like the fans.
They got to take care of themselves.
Yes, exactly.
And the IceHogs give us plenty of opportunities to interact with the team, so you'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially as season ticket holders, they treat us wonderfully. Mm-hmm. It's very appreciated, that's for sure.
They include me in all those little parties
That's
and
awesome.
stuff, so I get to go to all that stuff too. So,
Yeah.
You usually don't see me. I usually give the ticket to a big fan or somebody I know in the clinic that would really appreciate it. One of the rules is you have to have little kids.
Yeah.
So then I give them my stuff because, when you've seen them in the locker room, you don't really need to see them at the season ticket holder dinner.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen more of them than I want to see.
Yeah, I've seen way too much of you. I don't need to go to this
exactly.
dinner. Yeah, I mean, I know just from following the Hulsebus Facebook page, like chiropractic is more like proactive rather than fixing you once you're already injured, which I mean, you can work with. But
Sure. Well, I tell my golfers I can see them once before or 6 times after. It's up to them. A lot of people tell me, like, I wanted to go shovel my whole driveway and move all my stuff out of my garage before I came to see you because I didn't know. I'm like, well, I'm going to be seeing you every day this week. If you would have saw me, it's easier to be healthy going into it than it is try to get healthy afterwards. And that's the main thing. Everyone's shocked when I tell them I do more work before the games with the IceHogs than I do after the games.
Yeah.
It's all about not getting hurt than it is about fixing somebody.
It's cool. I mean, what does chiropractic work do to your body, really?
Well, if your spine is locked and fixated, that part's not going to move right.
Okay.
When that part's not moving right, other spots have to change and adapt around that. And you get the thing called muscle memory, where if you have this misalignment, the muscles and stuff will change. And it might not be noticeable today. It might not be noticeable 2 years from now. But you walk around with that for 5 years, and all of a sudden, you need one hip replaced, but not the other hip. And I always look at my patients and say, did that hip go similar to the other hip? Did it go? Why did one wear out faster than the other hip? And so by keeping in alignment and keeping everything in harmony, you don't wear out. And then you and I wouldn't feel that for maybe 5 years, but the guys on the ice, they'll feel that right away. They'll feel that difference right away.
Absolutely, especially with how much they're moving and using their bodies.
Yes.
It's crazy. I mean, a few years ago, every time I would try to run, my knees would just hurt so bad. So I finally went to physical therapy. They were like, your hips aren't even. Like, my knees hurt. You're telling me my hips aren't even? What?
Yep. They usually find your hips aren't even because your upper lower back, where the muscles that attach to your hip, is uneven. And so everything compensates and changes because your eyes always stay level no matter what. And so if you get a little bit of a kink here, something has to counter twist.
Yeah.
And that's what we see a lot. That's why us in our office, we look at the whole spine top to bottom, like we do with all the players. And then we work on trying to get those misalignments moving again so that way you can move and function better.
I like it. I know at least when I think of chiropractic work, I just think of a lot of cracking. That's mostly what you hear when people go through it.
Proprioception is the one thing that we work with a lot too, especially with the athletes and especially with older people too. Proprioception is right now, I know where my hand is because I can see it. But when I put it behind my head, I still know where it is. That's proprioception.
Okay.
And so there's been research that shows by Dr. Havoc that proprioception increases after chiropractic care.
Really?
And so if you're an athlete and you want to know your place in space when you're playing, you need to know that. Or if you're an elderly person, you don't want to slip and fall. I just did a podcast on keeping your neck alignment stops future falling when you get older. Issues that coincide with that. So the neurology, that's really, really important. You'll see this in somebody who's really old, near the end of their life, or somebody who just got over a major surgery. When they walk, they have to look at their feet. But when they go to sit down, it's always looking left and right because they've lost their proprioception. They don't know where they are. And so for us, when a lot of times I look at somebody, like if I go to church and I see somebody walking, I'm like, oh no, I better talk to that person. I might not see that person again. I can look at that and see that they're getting over a major healthcare crisis or getting near the end of their life.
That's so interesting.
And the other thing that people lose too is the ability to extend. You always see them all hunched over in flexion when they have that, when they're walking like that. So as chiropractors, we really work on those things. Again, that's why I love talking about the players in yoga. They don't realize that yoga is helping their proprioception, which is helping their healing and their repairing their bodies by doing the extension exercises. They just think it's something you wear funny pants for. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's something you really wouldn't think about because all of these things are so connected.
And that's like in the locker room environment. That's where I'm telling them to go do yoga because it helps with your spine. And the massage therapist is like, yeah, if your spine's better, then this muscle in your leg won't be so bad. And then the orthopedic guy's like, yeah, that'll take the stress off your knee. And that's the fun part of all of us being in the same room together.
Yeah. It's like listen to all of us and then you won't have to see us as often.
Exactly.
If you just take care of yourself.
Yes. Again, that's
so
why
cool.
I put down that's my primary healthcare provider is the IceHog locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just so cool. It's cool to hear all those stories.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Yeah. And if you guys live in Rockford or in the area and need some chiropractic work, definitely check out Hulsebus. And I mean, we can only hope that this season improves from these first 2 games that we've seen, right?
Yeah. I get to hear the coach in the locker room afterwards sometimes, and they're just all getting to know each other and find their way. And Kinger's been very encouraging to the guys. And
that's good.
Yeah.
Especially with such a young team.
Yeah, he's a fun coach, so I enjoy him. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. On that note, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will catch you all next time. Bye, guys.